So I really wanted to make this video because this is an advice that I hear all the time, and I'm sure all artists have heard it, and it is just to draw more. I see it in my comments every once in a while. People just say, you need to draw more, bro. Bro, you need to practice more, and things like that. And it's like, I know this is something that I know, and every artist knows that they need to practice more. This is not something new. I don't think any artist ever says, oh, I've peaked and I don't need to practice. So this is really terrible advice. It doesn't help anyone, and it doesn't get anyone anything, really. So while I talk about this, you can watch a drawing and painting process of Tifa from Final Fantasy that I've made. I'm not saying that this is not true. Well, of course I know, and I'm sure all artists know that they need to draw more and practice more, but it is really terrible advice and not helpful at all. When I'm trying to improve and all I have heard is draw more, then I'll probably just start practicing the same things that I've always done, and without, knowing what I need to focus on, and probably just get frustrated and stop progressing in some cases. And really, when I see these comments, all I can think of, what am I supposed to do with this comment? Well, thanks, I guess, but it's not really helpful. We all know that we need more practice. I think you see it with all professional artists, even the ones that post on Instagram and social media. A lot of times they put their studies up and they say study, they're doing a study. Even though they're professionals and their art is amazing, they still draw more and practice more. So this is something that everyone knows, and no one really needs to, be given that advice, because I think everyone is aware of that. Now, the main reason I say this is that mindlessly just drawing every day or using that advice is not really the answer to improving. You really need to know what to focus on to improve. If someone looks at my art and wants to give me advice, saying just practice more is not helpful, because I don't know what to focus on. Instead, it needs to be more specific. For example, the face proportions are not good because the forehead looks too big, or the eyes need more rendering, or something like that. Even in this painting that I was doing, initially, the head, something felt off, and if someone would have just looked at it from an outside view and said, hey, your eyes and eyebrows are too high in the head, bring them a little bit lower, that would have been great advice. It took me a while to figure it out, but that's the kind of advice that's helpful, because I can really take it and do something specific with it and actually improve my painting and my drawing skills. The other reason why I want to talk about this is that this can actually really stop or, slow down or hinder a lot of artists from actually practicing or learning or making beautiful art, and even posting it on social media, or posting it for other people to see, or showing it to their friends. I myself kind of understand how the internet works, and that most people just push their insecurities into others by criticizing and commenting on anything and everything that is out there. You see it all the time, not just with art, you see it with anything that, if you just notice anything that goes viral or lots of people see, there are so many negative comments all the time, regardless of the topic. So when I receive a comment like this, I try to see it, look at it, and see if there's anything that I can actually take from the comment and actually use to improve. If not, well, then there's no point for me to even think about this comment and really, decide or think about why did they even say this. But there's so many people out there that might just take this advice to heart and be either discouraged or even completely stop drawing. And that's not something that we want to do. So saying all this doesn't mean that we should just go around and compliment everything and everyone that we see, because that is also not helpful at all. When I just receive a comment that says, nice, great job, well, it's nice to hear, and I'm glad people like the art. But if I post my art asking for help or advice, then it is also good to receive some constructive criticism or advice that will help me improve. But please, please, please don't go around and give advice to people who are not asking for it. Because at the end of the day, art is an expression, and a lot of people just draw and paint for themselves. They don't really care about improving or becoming better. They just want to do it because they're, like to do it for relaxing or something that they enjoy. They just enjoy the process, and they don't actually care about improving. So these kinds of people are not necessarily looking for advice on their art on how to improve, because they're not looking for it. They just want to do it for fun, and that's completely fine. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So what are good examples of good advice that you can give to someone when they post their art or you want to help them? So here are a couple that I have received. A bit more specific would have been better, but they still give some good direction. I need to focus on anatomy. So it doesn't just say your art sucks or you need more practice or you need to draw more. Because at least with this, I can see that these two individuals have noticed that my anatomy skills are not, up to par there and need improvement. And I agree, I can take this and run with it and really focus on my anatomy. But if it was a little bit more specific, it would have been even better. For example, they could have said, the arms need a little bit more refinement. The anatomy of the arm, is not very accurate, or the proportion or something like that would have made it even better. But still, because they really, said the anatomy itself, so at least the advice or was a little bit more specific than generally this art sucks or something like that. So here are my final thoughts to everyone. Before you give advice to anyone, just ask yourself if this person even wants the advice. If you think if they're not asking for it, or if you don't think that they're asking for it, then don't give it because they're not looking for it. So what's the point of even doing that? But if they think they do, like someone myself who's always, trying to improve and posting my art and looking on better ways to learn new skills and develop, then you should put yourself in their shoes. Try to give a piece of advice that is specific and actionable so that the person receiving it can actually do something with it. The examples that I've mentioned before were good examples where you can say, for example, the foreshortening of the arm needs a little bit more refinement or more practice. And I hope this video has helped you as an artist who receives advice, and not to be discouraged. If the advice is not helpful or if it is critical of you and of your work, try not to take things personally, and you don't have to listen to every advice that you receive. Think about each one of the things that you receive and you're told, and decide for yourself if this is actually good advice or not. And you can discuss this with other artists or other friends to actually think about the advice that you receive and if it is, useful to you or not. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.